Hello and welcome. My name is Rebecca Jax, and if you're watching this, then you have made an appointment with me to attend a Kundalini activation ceremony. So I'm very looking forward to meeting you in person or online soon. So we've put this video together actually for those of you where it's your first time being in this frequency, being in this energy, so that you can really process and digest some of the things that I'm going to say before you actually attend. I kindly ask everyone to also watch this the whole way through so that we can come into a longer energy transmission when you arrive for your appointment, for your healing, and this way you're well informed of all of the weird, wonderful and wild things that may or may not happen on the mat. So firstly, to touch base on what it is that we're working with. So we're working with a certain frequency and energy that, first of all, primarily is going to clear and purify the energy pathways. So it's really important that we look at this through a trauma lens. So for those of us that have experienced numerous things in our lives that may have accumulated into energetic or emotional blockages, we are holding on to those within the body, and they can create patterns, faulty beliefs, limiting beliefs, all of the kind of things that, our behaviors and so on are, and altering our reality and our world lens. So by holding on to this energy, it really alters our frequency. It alters how we connect and belong to others and in the world and within ourselves. So when we come into working with this frequency, it begins to shift that which is on a lower vibration, that which is we're holding on to, which is perhaps more pain or our sacred grief, or times that we felt rejected or abandoned, or a symptomology of depression or anxiety or so on that we're holding on to within the system. So it can affect us in our mind, our body, our soul, our entire energy field, as well as it kind of draws in on our energy field. So as we come in, the facilitator and myself, we create an energy vortex, so a biofield of energy. So you can almost look at this as though we are the tuning fork. So we emit a certain frequency that everybody, including yourself, within that container, whether it be online or in person, is going to then begin resonate to that frequency. And as you begin to resonate to that frequency, your body will then begin to shift as it will begin to rise. So it's vibrational entrainment. So at that point, if we're emitting a frequency that's up here, your system is then going to do what it can to adjust and then move into that higher vibration. So in order for it to do that, it needs to also release that which it's holding on to, which is on a lower vibration. And is why we can come into some places within ourselves that can be sometimes a little bit painful, hard to witness, hard to sit with, and to really acknowledge and face what it is that we're holding on to inside. So it's this direct communion with self, like this mirror of us looking towards ourselves and actually everything that's really happening within. Some of this stuff, a lot of us might be very conscious and aware of. It might be things that have just happened in the past week. It might be things that, for example, a breakup, we're very aware that we've just had a breakup. But it can also be things that are very unconscious and very deep within the subconscious realms that happened perhaps when we were a child, perhaps even in the womb, and for some even accessing places and spaces within ourselves that are past life, into this version of ourselves that always was, is, and always will be. So there really is just so many things that can happen in this space, and we really ask for everybody to surrender, to really just drop in and allow the energy to just show you what needs to be looked at, what needs to be witnessed, what needs to be released and integrated. So we work in the path of surrender, meaning we don't do anything, which is a wonderful aspect of this work. So when you come, you will simply lay down on the mat or on your bed or wherever you are if you are online at home. And as we begin to create this energy vortex and you drop into that field and you begin to resonate with that frequency, we do that in the path of surrender by constantly just coming back and just letting ourselves go and then coming into that receptivity. So allowing ourselves to fully receive and allowing ourselves to just melt away into what it is that we're being shown, and so that we can express. So people will respond very differently, and each time, as we're all very unique, obviously our experiences in life for everyone that has come here, all very unique. And so sometimes it might mean that when you come onto the mat, it might be very, very emotional. There might be other times that you'll come into the mat and it can be very kinesthetic, very physical, where you can experience the kriyas and people moving in certain ways. This is energy simply moving throughout the body as the electricity begins to rise and beginning to find its way out so that it can be alchemized. It might also be that you come in and it's very, very visual, just having a very clairvoyant experience, or really tapping into future versions of yourself, or even perhaps past versions of yourself, and tapping into our unborn children, or unlocking our creative genius and getting the answers of things that we're yet to receive. It's coming into surrendered manifestation, really having impressions put upon us so that we can really see things that are coming towards us in the future, so that we know how to act, so that they can actualize here. It might also mean that you lay down on the mat and it's just very meditative, and that it's very calming, and that you just drop into a very deep meditative space. And that's absolutely perfect. Some people as well will come in and they won't feel anything, or little to nothing. It might just be very subtle sensations and waves of energy throughout the body, which is also perfect and fine as it is, because everything that we experience in the session is a bridge, or it's leading into the next session, into the next healing of what might be happening then. It's really good for us to try and imagine that if we are holding on to things that we have suppressed, and our nervous system has tightened up and it's tried to protect us, and it's coiled up and there's a lot of tension in the body. Or you could also look at it as if there's emotional or energetic rocks or blocks within the body. So it's quite heavy. There's a lot to melt. There's a lot to dissolve. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot that needs to thaw out and move through the system, so that it can almost become liquid in form, so it can start to actually release through the body in such a deep cathartic way. With this work, it's really important that we don't come into it looking to have a physical experience, for us to be going into these back bends or shaking or moving on the mat, because it really is just one tiny aspect of this work. We come into this work because of the expanded state of consciousness, the deep, deep, deep transformations and awakenings that can happen and born within each of us. There are so many shifts that are created within this work that take place long after we leave the shala, or long after you shut the laptop down. There's a humongous ripple effect with this work as well, as we really literally change our lives when we change our energy, and people will then begin to resonate in with us, and also in training to us. So we're like these big balls of light that end up leaving the shala. And yes, when we go through integration, it can sometimes be quite challenging to continue processing that which came up into our conscious awareness. But it also is very beneficial in the long term, because we create so much space within our body for a lot of light to come in, all of the bliss, the joy, the love, the magnitude of this energy and this expansiveness, and things that we're magnetizing into our field and into our reality as well. But it all starts from the inner currents and what we're shifting and releasing from within us. It can also be as well, when you come into a space, into group healing, into co-healing, it can be very dynamic in a space. Sometimes you will hear people screaming, shouting, crying, begging, swearing, pleading. So we just kindly ask everybody to just come in with an open heart and an open mind, and just to send love to each person that may be expressing or releasing something that's quite painful through their body. But also looking at this, if it triggers you in any way, perhaps it's a permission slip for you to be able to look within to see if that kind of energy, for example, grief that you may be hearing somebody else release in a space, if that energy, that emotion, that experience is still unprocessed and unfinished within yourself. I kindly ask everybody as well to please keep their eyes closed, to keep contained within themselves, and just knowing as well that you are safe. Ultimately, the most empowering part of all of this is that this energy is you. You are responding to me as an embodied version of facilitating this energy, because I've become the energy myself through also being on the mat many, many, many times. So through that, then you're able to then begin responding to me of where I'm currently at in my life. But this is your energy awakening to itself. So I want to also make it clear that no one here is having a Kundalini awakening. What we're experiencing is a frequency that has the power to stimulate the Kundalini, so it can activate the Kundalini. But first and foremost, it's about clearing and purifying the energy pathways and the channels in the system, so that secondary to that, the Kundalini then has spaciousness to then begin purifying, clearing, healing, rising, and moving in its fashion or in its order to which is in accordance with you, to what you need and what your own journey is. But there's nobody here that is forcing or giving or coercing or anything, manipulating any form of Kundalini awakening. A Kundalini awakening is something that can happen over a very long period of time, and also for some it can be something that can happen very spontaneously as well. So we're in a very safe space that's very nervous system led. Your body is going to respond to what you're ready for, to what your nervous system is ready to process and to release. So at any point, you're able to come back into the breath, you're able to cross your arms to stop the flow, you can come into a seated position, you can reset, recalibrate, just come back into your space, and then if you feel ready, then you can come back down into a lying down position. The word activation sometimes also can be a little bit misleading. Sometimes you can come in and we can experience straight on the mat pure bliss, pure love, pure joy, calm, tranquility, forgiveness, compassion, unity, oneness, like just the most incredible bliss inside the body. There's just interconnectedness with all that is. And then there'll be other times that you can come onto the mat and it can feel that there's unprocessed horror or pain or grief or sadness, whatever it is that you may be holding on to, that also feels that it's ready now and your nervous system is on board and it's ready for you to begin witnessing some of this so that you can process it, so you can integrate it, so that all of these parts of yourself that have been severed or disconnected, these fragments of self over the years of your life, now slowly can start coming back into this oneness, into this wholeness. So there's no parts of you that are left in pain, no parts of you that are left grieving, so that you're no longer chained or tied to the experience or having these psychosomatic responses to it, but you have this window of tolerance, you have this calm, you have the coherence, and you're able to be the observer of what has happened in your experiences of your life, but no longer trapped within the confines of it and trapped within the emotionality of it. So it's really powerful work when we work with the soma, when we work with energy from a very bottom-up approach. And it can be very transcendental, very mystical, and this is really opening up people's minds to energy and also to how powerful we are as energy. So kindly ask everyone to just simply come with no expectations, releasing any expectations, to loosely hold an intention of where you may think you would like this to go without being fixated on it, because we really open up to a whole world of possibility and probability. So really just surrendering, knowing that there's nothing you need to do, know where you need to be, and just allowing the energy, your energy, to begin awakening to itself through you. It's like your highest self, your highest form, waking up within you as this direct mirror, taking over the steering wheel, the reins of your life, and showing you from a broader self, from a broader perspective, all that you may need to know to understand why you came to this life, what you came here for, what your mission is, what it is you came here to serve, your medicine, or so that you're able to really heal and integrate and create this huge ripple effect through collective healing, through the collective in general. So I believe I've touched on everything that we could cover for now. We will come into the session and we will speak a little bit more into all of the things that can happen. But ultimately what I want for you all to know in this space before you arrive for our session is that everything is energy, including yourself, and that you are going to experience yourself to different intensities, different levels, different experiences of yourself uniquely every time that you come onto the mat. So please release any expectations of how you think you need this to be, releasing any control of how you want this to go, and just releasing any kind of manipulation of this energy and letting it just be completely as it is. And you will see just how powerful you are, and you will see just how miraculous all of this is, and you will see how much we've really been suppressed in our human lives as well, all the things that we haven't been told. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing you either in person or online soon. Bye.